excited to introduce my guest for today, Kristyn, the owner and hypnotherapist of West End Hypnosis. And after facing her own struggles, Kristyn discovered the transformative power of hypnosis, which completely changed her life. So today she's here to talk about hypnosis, and I am so looking forward to finding out more. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. It's so exciting. I've always been so curious about hypnosis. I've heard about it. I kind of dig a little bit into it, but I never had the chance to actually dip my toes in it. So I would love for you first to maybe share your journey, how you got into hypnotherapy and what led you there.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Oh my gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago, right? That you started. So I first started getting into hypnosis as a client. I was a client for weight loss. Actually, I don't think I originally went for weight loss. It was more for bettering my relationship, to have more self-confidence inside myself. Um, and I ended up losing 50 pounds after having two kids and really struggling with being in my head a lot and creating the internal dialogue that, where my mind went, my body followed. And I was just like, I was getting infections. I felt awful. I felt like absolute crap. So I went to go see a hypnotist and they helped. They really showed me my pattern, what I was doing over and over and over again. And this pattern was from like way back when, even when I was a little kid. And there wasn't one specific moment, but it was just something that I was replaying in my life. And it was interesting when she first put it on the table. I was like, oh, I don't even need that anymore. I'm not sure why I'm using it. So logically, I knew it wasn't useful for me, but it was my subconscious that needed to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started with hypnosis. And then I started kind of dabbling in it. So there's a clinic here in Burlington, a training facility in Burlington. So I've been there for about 5 years now, training with my mentor. So we often say, as a hypnotist or a client, you're inside the bottle. And what a hypnotist does is they read the label outside the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool. Like I have my mentor who's the hypnotist and I will forever have her because she reads my label outside the bottle. And hey, there's no such thing as perfection. Never, ever. Or no such thing as, aha, I'm here. It's an
Mm-hmm.
ongoing flow.
Process. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I continue to go to courses nearby. And then about 2 years ago, I was like, all right, Kristyn, I think it's time. I think it's time you just jump in. So I started my own clinic here in Burlington, and I'm really enjoying it. Especially, some of my limiting beliefs from the past were,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, you're a mom, you can't do that."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh!" It was like freeing myself out of jail. It was such a nice feeling, and I'm still there for my kids, but I have it in this way of taking care of myself as well as
Mm-hmm.
being there for them.
I can so relate. You and I spoke before the recording, and we had, you said we speak the same language, and I can so relate to this because having children of my own, I totally understand when where all these mothers come from, or mothers, I should say, in plural, because we give so much of ourselves, yet we so forget about ourselves.
Mhm.
And it's like the cup is overflowing. And it's like, okay, well, enough. So I'm super excited again to have you on. I want to learn more about it. And I bet the audience probably would like to learn more about that too. So this will bring me to, how does hypnotherapy or hypnosis work?
Yeah, so hypnosis works. We use something called NLP, neural linguistics programming. So it's a pattern or a strategy that's so deep inside of you that you don't even know you're doing it. It's like walking, right? You don't think like, oh wait, I have to lift my leg and put it back down to walk. It's just natural, like riding a bike. So often it's almost like we're too close to something to see all of our other choices or the other alternatives. So what hypnosis does is it pulls you back to show you all of the choices, like the bigger picture of things. So there's a whole bunch of tools that we go through. Sometimes we get you to read a chapter out of a book. We use a lot of metaphors because as human beings, we tend to get offensive if we're talking directly to a person about their situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go in off into a metaphor or tell a story about someone else, you can relate right away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool. And that's where your subconscious feels safe, is when it can relate and see someone else do it another way.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of toy with it. It's really, really fascinating. And I'm learning every day, which is the cool thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the power of these modalities that we, place, and we continue learning. It's like with me, I'm not like, oh no, hypnotherapist, this is a voodoo thing, so I don't want nothing to do with it. I just personally think that everything is so connected that even having that access to the hypnosis to open your mind and to release whatever it is. Let's say you work with someone else and you can't open that part of yourself, why not looking into hypnosis and help you into that next stage of your life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's so many tools just in hypnosis, but like you
Mm-hmm.
said, there's so many different modalities of help now. We're so
Mm-hmm.
lucky.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. It's, we can take whatever directions we want. And again, I think for me, it's staying open to all of this
Mhm.
and accepting of what would help me through my process of healing, you know?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the common challenges that you have faced during the process of hypnotherapy?
So with my own journey, or
Yeah.
yeah, with my own journey. So, sometimes it's hard to hear. Sometimes it's hard to hear what you keep doing. And I
Mhm.
think my biggest frustration is like, okay, I see what you're saying, but how the heck do I get out of it? Like, I feel like
Mhm.
I'm spinning.
Mhm.
Or sometimes I can see myself in this situation, but I can't always think about the other options of how to play it out.
Mhm.
And that's really where a hypnotist comes in because they're on the outside of it. It's like watching a movie. Like you go to a movie theater, you can see the movie on the screen. So one of our NLP tools is to actually put what you're going through on the movie screen.
Mhm.
So a lot of this is also getting into your senses
Mm.
because in our head, it's not fixing anything. When
But do you think this is something where people actually lost that scent of because we, especially as women, we have that sense in our gut feeling that we feel it, and we want to do it, but then this voice behind our ear telling us otherwise.
Mhm. Yeah,
Is that
totally.
what it is?
Yeah, so that gut sometimes is either us over analyzing it or us computing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's four ways people cope. Okay, and a well-known family therapist came up with this. Do you want to do it with me? It could be more fun.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're gonna look at a wall. Okay,
Okay.
okay, and you're gonna go, "It's all your fault."
It's all your fault.
Nice, nice. Okay, the second one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You're gonna put your hands out like this and say, "Anything you want, I'm here for you."
Anything you want, I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the third one, you're going to put your index finger on your chin and say, if I was to analyze this,
If I was to analyze this.
nice. Okay, the fourth one's the hardest. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You're just moving your body,
I can do that.
right?
Shake it off, right?
Right? Shake it all off. Yeah. So these are every human being copes. We all cope in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So this well-known family therapist, Virginia Satir, came up with a metaphor, and it goes like this. So there's four people in a boat. The first person in the boat goes, "Who put the hole in the boat?" The second person in the boat goes, "I will swim to shore and save everyone." The third person in the boat goes, "If I was to analyze this, we're going to sink in 3.2 seconds." And the fourth person in the boat's going, "Hey, look, there's a bird." And nobody's actually fixing the hole in the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So notice even in metaphor and stories, you can be like, "Oh, yeah, I see where I am in that."
Mhm.
And us as women, we tend to get into this people pleasing, this placating
Mhm.
or taking care of others and forgetting about ourselves. And it's something that's so ingrained in us at a subconscious level.
Mm. That's something that actually we all should be looking at.
Mhm.
Never thought it that way.
And even if you just notice it, so the opposite of all of these four coping strategies is just leveling with yourself and just
Mhm.
seeing it for what it is.
Mm.
So seeing like, oh my gosh, right now what I'm doing is I'm in my head and computing and trying to overthink something which I can't really solve. Or with a lot of our weight loss clients, we have clients come in who are trying to solve something or have an uncomfortable emotion that they're feeling and they want
Mhm.
to distract themselves so they go and binge eat.
Mm.
Same with smokers. So if someone's coming to see us for smoking, they're either computing about it, maybe they're blaming someone or people pleasing, and then they're trying to distract themselves by having a stick and lighting it on fire and trying to kill themselves.
Mm.
Right? So everyone's coping in their own ways. They don't purposely do it. They're not thinking, I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette and try to kill myself.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course
It's
not.
that emotion, it's that subconscious mind that plays these little tricks on us. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like you said, you get in the car, you drive, and you automatically drive without even thinking. So it's kind of the same thing in a way.
Yeah. And
Mm.
hypnosis is everywhere. Like you've got into a car. Have you ever driven somewhere and then the last couple blocks you forget, but you've gotten to your driveway safe and sound?
Mhm.
It happens all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. So some of these things that we're doing are just so automatic, we don't even realize they're getting in the way.
Mhm. So, how do you help your clients utilize their unconscious mind? So, let's say overcome weight loss.
Yeah.
If you can
So
give some examples, that would be great.
yeah, for sure. So something that we went through, the satir model, those coping
Mhm.
strategies is a tool. So we set up a toolbox for our clients.
Mhm.
And there's no one size fits all. So every client who comes to meet with us, we do a free screening to make sure it's the right fit because it's not always the right fit.
Right.
So during that free screening, we make sure that, this person is able to make changes, that they want to make changes, and that they see their pattern and they're willing to follow instructions.
Mhm.
Because if they're not willing to follow instructions, it's not the right place for them. So whether it's with weight loss or stop smoking or building confidence or bettering relationships, we
Mhm.
give them a toolbox with these tools, whether
Mhm.
it's wrapping something up and sending it into the imaginary mist or cloud, or maybe going to an anchor like a happy place or a place or an experience that you've had where you felt confident. So we have everyday anchors. Have you ever driven past like a high school or an elementary school and all of these thoughts come back?
Yes.
Yeah. So those are like natural everyday anchors. So we use those things that you've already had experiences with, and we teach you how to go out of unuseful and into useful,
Hmm.
focusing on an outcome. So everyone who signs up for a program has an outcome, whether it's boosting their self confidence, whether it's losing
Right.
weight. So it's really getting into your senses about this outcome, having a toolbox. And then every time you come in, it's repetition and fixation. So we're reminding you what your goal looks like or what your outcome looks like, getting into your senses. And then we're
Mhm.
giving you tools to shift you along the way.
Hmm. So, hypnosis is not something that you do through meditation or um, like in old movies, you're like, okay, you're sleeping now.
Yeah, and that's a great question. Thanks for bringing that
Yeah.
up. So our sessions are from 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. So we teach you a tool in that session,
Hmm.
or maybe we get you to read a chapter out of a book, but then you also go into hypnosis in every single session.
Hmm.
So I have my trusty mic, check, mic. So
Hmm.
you get a live hypnosis while you're there. And then
Hmm.
you go really, really deep into relaxation, listening to myself and then an audio. And then while you're super, super relaxed, I come back in with suggestions towards your outcome. Because when your body is super relaxed and your subconscious is open,
Hmm.
you're more likely to take in what I'm saying.
Hmm.
And then after the session, we review the tools and you take them out and practice them. And then you come back and we see how it went. So it's really important from session to session is you're having the human experience. And Alex, I'm
Hmm.
talking about you, but I'm saying any client.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So
having the
how would clients see the difference? Can they see the difference, let's say, in one session? Or is there like again, I know everybody's different, but is there like a period where people be like, oh wow, I'm noticing these things?
Yeah. So most clients who come in, and now this is different, like you said, to every single person, but most people after their first hypnosis session are like, I've never felt that relaxed before.
Mm.
So 1 hour of hypnosis is equivalent to 3 hours of sleep.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right? We all can use a
Mhm.
little bit more of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it depends. Like, some people, if someone's really in their head and computing, or their patterns are
Yeah.
really, really ingrained in them, it may take some time.
Right.
Everyone's kind of running their own race.
Everybody has to be or feel comfortable um, within themselves, and like you said, be open, right, to the possibilities, because I mean the possibilities are huge. So it
Yeah.
depends also, like you said, I like the idea of you coming and saying, okay, we need to go through these questionnaires to see if you're a good fit, because you can welcome anybody, but if they're not ready, they're not ready.
Yeah, and that's funny because we talked about planting seeds before.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
truly believe that you can plant all these seeds, but when someone's really ready to make a
Hmm.
change, then they're really ready to make a change. And they're willing
100%.
to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what techniques do you use to help a particular client build confidence or self esteem? Because I find, especially if you're working with women, because I find women tend to have that self esteem issue. So, how
Mhm.
would that look like?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that. I remember doing a Pilates class recently, and she said if you look at women while they're walking, they always look down. And their confidence, usually that means their confidence is low. So yeah, you're right. A lot of women don't even realize how much power they have, or how much flexibility, or the internal confidence that they really do have. So we do a lot of cool techniques, but one of my favorite ones is modeling. So
Hmm.
you choose someone in your life, or maybe in a movie, or maybe at a TV show, or maybe even someone that you've interviewed on a podcast, and you copy what they do in your own life. So we go through like an NLP technique, and we put a circle on the ground. This is called the circle of excellence. And when you see that circle, you're going to put all the moods, the energy, the attributes, and you're going to step into that circle. And with a hypnotist working you through it or walking you through it, you actually go into being that person. So it's like playing a role
Hmm.
until the muscle gets so strong that it's actually your role.
It comes naturally.
Exactly. Like riding a bike or swimming or walking.
Interesting.
It's cool, eh?
Mm. Yeah, I like that actually. I should apply that to my daughter. Because it's the same thing. She walks and she's like this constantly. I'm like, I remember my mom used to say, this is a Polish saying, is "Czyczki strambo chłopcy idą." This is say of stick out your chest because there's lots of boys around. And I was like, Mom, it probably doesn't make any sense in English, but in Polish it's like, huh? And you stand up and just the whole posture changes the dynamic, the energy around you. So I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that stick out your chest because so many women are like this and they
Yeah.
have like back issues. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's creating the space to try things on.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. What about assisting with sleep issues? Because again, a lot of women now going through perimenopause, menopause, and so on are having sleeping issues. So maybe not even perimenopause or so, but generally you wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep. You go to bed late and so on. So how could hypnotherapy or hypnosis help?
Mhm. Yeah. So that's an awesome question. And a lot of people do come for sleep, because really sleep is one of our pillars, right? If we have a table, if we don't have sleep, our table's uneven and we're falling apart. And
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting you say that because even with doctors nowadays, I love that they're going back to the basic needs. Are you sleeping? Are you drinking water? Are you
Mhm.
eating? Right? Are you
Yeah.
getting sunlight? It's nice to see that shift. So with hypnosis, it teaches your body and your subconscious that it's safe to relax. Because often, and with all this social media that's happening, and there's so much information coming at us right now,
Mhm.
so much, it's overwhelming, and our subconscious is feeling that fight or flight.
Mhm.
So it's teaching you, instead of being like this up and down, it's teaching your body how to be like this and to keep it going.
Mhm.
And very similar to even with a weight loss client or a stop smoking client, it's giving you more options at a subconscious level of how to stay there, to stay in that middle. And hey, life's going to happen. You're still going to go up and down, but it's giving you choices in those happening times, let's say.
Mhm. Hmm. Yeah. Choices. We have too many choices sometimes, but I like the idea of, yes, we can choose be calm. We can choose to do certain things. So I really, I like that. I like that approach.
Mhm.
What are some of the misconception about hypnosis? Again, I think I asked you this before, but I find it that again, people are either not resilient, but they're like, again, they don't want to believe in that, right? So what would you again say to them? Say, listen, would you want to try it? Give it a try, see how you feel. um, what would you recommend here?
Yeah. So, like one of the misconceptions that we went through already with that,
Mhm.
the necklace going back and forth, or you're going to cluck like a chicken.
Yeah.
Often.
Yeah, because some people can also think, well, I am in hypnosis. Maybe if you can give me the wrong things, in my head, like there's so many things, right? But I find it too, like being open to the whole idea is great, for helping. But if someone is so resistant, do you just say, okay, just come back next time?
Yeah, so that's why we do the free screening. Really, really
Hmm.
important to make sure that and during the free screening, it's really making sure that we're aligning,
Hmm.
okay, through the whole thing. And so one of the biggest parts about hypnosis is all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So there's
Okay.
nothing that I can say or do that you do not want to do. So which is really, really important because some people come into the screenings and they're like, where's your magic wand?
Right.
Which there's no magic to this. This is reading a pattern and giving tools and choosing to practice them and to build the
Yeah.
muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'd say the biggest misconception is people are expecting someone else to do the work or someone else to shift. And I get it. It can be scary. I've been there.
Hmm.
It can be super scary, but then noticing where you're getting into those coping strategies. Because even in that mix, people get into like the blame game, whether they're blaming, the hypnotist or they're blaming
Yeah.
someone else in their life. Like, oh, my husband brings snacks all the time. It's his fault I've gained weight.
Right.
Yeah. So it's really, really leveling with yourself and choosing to put both feet in the boat to make a
Hmm.
change.
I like that. We are all individuals and we do have that choice. Even when we're scared, it's okay. You
Yeah.
can you can still do it. And people like yourself are there to hold someone's hand and be like, it's okay. I got you.
Yeah.
So,
And I find especially like and this is with every human being, but sometimes we forget those four pillars of
mm,
like adventures, having sexual connection or connection with other human beings. We
mhm,
forget that as human beings, we need that, those basic
mhm,
needs.
right. Yeah. So, how effective is hypnosis for pain management? And what should your clients know before starting?
Yeah, great question. So whenever someone comes in, we do the free screening and we always make sure that their medical professional is on board with hypnosis. Okay, so we always send a doctor's note to any client that's coming through pain management or who has any mental disability because we are not doctors. We want to stay within our scope of practice. So I've seen some amazing, amazing success with hypnosis and pain management. I had a client recently who came in and he had a really, really bad knee to the point where it was getting so painful to walk. But he also owned a farm and he was with horses and he was riding horses. So he was using it a lot, but he was almost in his 60s. So his body was changing.
Mm.
But for him, what was happening was all of his stress was directly going to his knee. And he wasn't even realizing it until he saw that he had a choice, almost like a volume dial, to turn it down or turn it up. So with this volume dial, he could actually um, bottle up some of the pain, because what happens is sometimes we amplify the pain in our head.
Mm.
And then sometimes we ignore it when it's actually painful. So with hypnosis, you're learning how to genuinely have that intuition or connect with your body in a way where you're like leveling with yourself again, where you're like, okay, yep, I need to go see a doctor now.
Mm-hmm.
Or hey, I'm okay to do some light walking today. So it's that connection between your body and the pain. Because
Recognizing the cues.
yeah, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the pain is just so much bigger, or it's an attachment to something maybe they need to forgive and let go. I had another client in earlier this week who we were doing our forgiveness technique, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm having a really hard time," and she had a really hard time forgiving her sister. And she's like, "All I can feel is this pain in my knees. I can't get rid of it."
Mm.
And once she went through this forgiveness process, it lightened up.
Yeah. It's like Louise Hay. Not sure if you heard her book or read her book, how everything's connected. The
Mhm.
pain is connected to some sort of emotion that is holding you back, or your digestion is connected to something else. It's so true. The anger, frustration, and everything we hold, and then it comes out on our in our bodies.
Yeah,
Yet we don't know what it is.
yeah, it's like signs that it's giving you. It's like, hey, white
Mhm.
flag over here.
Right. Yet we don't listening to these little cues that we're being thrown at. We gotta in tune within ourselves, going inward and really feel it and recognize it, and then make these, like you said, making these choices of what we want to do.
Yeah, and hey, sometimes we have so much going on that it's all we can do. We always have a positive intention.
That's
There
it.
there's no way to do it all either. And it's when it gets painful enough that it's seeking for help for more.
Yeah. Usually that's what usually happens when someone has some sort of trauma or something. That's when we're searching for things.
Yeah.
Can you share? Do you actually have a successful story or a couple successful stories that you like to share with us? Because I'm curious
Mm.
myself.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my gosh, we have tons. So it's funny because during our screening, we have big binders of written accounts of people who have been to our clinic, and we have about 4 of those, and they're this thick, full of people who have had successful things happen. So it's awesome. But I can tell you a couple.
yes, please.
Yeah, so we recently had a client who came in for weight loss, and she lost 50 pounds, and she hadn't had kids yet, and she was having a hard time having kids actually, and that's why she came to hypnosis, because she was just like, I've tried everything, I've done fertility, I've done this, and nothing's working. Okay, so she was with us, and every weight loss client is different, but in her case, she was holding on to a lot of anger and frustration because she couldn't get pregnant. So she was blaming her husband. She was blaming the doctors. She was also a huge in blaming herself.
Mm.
And until she came to hypnosis, she couldn't actually like turn down the pressure from herself to just surrender into the process. And after she had a whole toolbox of tools, and after months and months of really proving to herself that she could do it differently, was shedding off the weight. With every step she took, she was like, I feel lighter, I feel happier. And I actually just heard from her recently, and she's pregnant with her first kid.
Yay! Congratulations.
Yeah. So like those are the things that, like, hey, you never know what's going to happen, but if you can put yourself in a place where like you're open to opportunity, or
Mhm.
even surrendering to taking care of yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I find hypnosis is almost like having an extra tool in your toolbox, because we can have so many things. You can have nutrition, you can have, I don't know, whatever it is in there. And I think that is also a great way to help people get, like we said earlier, get to the next level. So I really, really, this is awesome. This is really fantastic. Um, what would you recommend, or what are some self hypnosis techniques that you could recommend for people? Let's say they want to do it at home. Is this something that actually people can do on their own, to try it, or this is something that you would recommend having a person with them?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. So I personally, like, I've gone onto YouTube and saw it on Spotify, and the programs, and there is lots of hypnosis audios
Mhm.
on there. But the difference from coming to see a hypnotist and listening to an audio is the hypnotist is actually just focused on you. So in those audios, they're not putting your patterns out, and the audios are awesome. And every time a client comes in, they get an audio to take home to keep their mind in the right place. But it's also utilizing the tools. So
Mhm.
sometimes in conversation, even when I'm with my family at home, I'll be like cutting cords to have the forgiveness process actually happen in the moment. Where, like we hold a lot sometimes. We have this heavy backpack. And as we cut those cords and forgive and let go, it's more of a process that's in our senses.
Mm.
So I would suggest always having a hypnotist to read your label, because you actually get the feedback back directly for you. It's like a personalized program.
Right.
Yeah. And hey, if you wanted to try it, there's lots of options online, but that
Yeah.
personalized program gets you way closer to your outcomes and your goals.
Mm. So you were just talking about chords. If someone doesn't know about chords, what
Yeah.
are they?
Yeah. Great question. So a cord holds us when we're frustrated or angry with someone attached to that person, or it could even be a situation, or it could even be ourselves. So we have these big, long, sticky cords between us and the other person, us and the frustrating situation, or us and ourselves. Often it comes back to forgiving ourselves.
Mm.
So in hypnosis, we teach our clients how to cut cords.
Mm.
So whatever utensil you want to cut with, a samurai sword, maybe it's a chainsaw, but you're cutting that cord and watching the each side of the cord go into each person as you
What
forgive.
I've learned is that the chords are the energies from
Mhm.
other people. Is
Yes.
that what it is?
Yeah, so that's an awesome point, because it is. Someone actually recently was like, I feel like it's like an umbilical cord and it's sucking the energy out of me.
It's so true, because you connect with some people. Let's say you are in the shopper. Let's say you're doing groceries at Lawless. You're fine, you're minding your business, whatever, and then you're being surrounded by certain people, and you come home and you're exhausted, right? Usually, like, I know with me, I don't get my energy sucked out of me as much as I hate shopping. So for me to go shopping and be drained at the end of the day or a couple hours, it's horrendous. So I'm like, cut, clean that energy, you know, get my sage. I sage everything. I sage myself. But yeah, I
Totally.
like that. It's like the cord. Yeah, it's like you really need to come back, ground yourself, regain that mental clarity, and yeah, and learn how to do that, and learn how to get back on your 2 feet, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you say learn, because in this forgiveness process, there's actually, other than the cord sucking, the life sucking cord, there's actually another little cord of love that can never be cut.
Mm.
So this little cord that's there is also noticing what you've learned from the situation,
Right.
and that gratefulness place. And hey, we learn from every situation, which is kind of cool.
That's it.
When we're holding on to that anger, it's kind of like when there's a storm and the clouds are there, we can't see the sun until we move the clouds a little bit and see the sun or the rainbow
Yeah.
that I'm having.
Give me those rainbows, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And reality is life's not always rainbows or gumdrops, right? It's
That's it. It goes in the waves of, like you mentioned earlier, it's the up and downs in life that we carry these burdens or whatever we are carrying. So
yeah, and to
sometimes
be
it's
honest with
great,
you,
sometimes not.
yeah, and to be honest with you, like big picture, if we look at a client coming in, every client's up and down like this. And what our goal is to get them in the middle,
Hmm.
to ride the wave in a more freeing way where they're still safe and secure.
Yeah, when they can notice, right? Paying attention, seeing that and be like, "Oh, this is how or what I'm feeling." Notice it, accept it, and then deal with it in whatever way you're dealing with it, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I love how you say when you're feeling something because we talk about emotions like having to pee, right?
Right,
You don't cross your legs and say, I'm not allowed to pee right now. I'm not allowed to pee, or else you're going to get a
right,
bladder infection.
right.
So just
Yeah,
peeing it out.
figure it out. What are some self-hypnosis techniques that the listeners can practice at home to, let's say, manage stress and anxiety?
Yeah. So some things that we actually have talked about even in self hypnosis. So getting yourself super, super relaxed, whether that's listening to something on YouTube or we do a progressive relaxation. So you could probably even Google that on YouTube. Getting your body super, super relaxed and then saying to yourself, I am safe. I am secure. I have choices. I am in control of myself. Just even simple things like that. Because sometimes we forget that we have options. And our subconscious, when you say yes to something, our subconscious is like, giddy up, let's go. It's excited.
Mm.
It's when they're,
Is it something because we also don't know how to say no? Again, I'm talking about for women
yeah,
or men.
yeah, totally. And it's having those like healthy boundaries. Have you ever been in a limo before or like a taxi cab that has that up and down shield?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's teaching someone how to have the remote to pull it up, then put it back down if they want, or leaving it there or putting it back down. So
Mm.
every situation is different and having that choice of where it needs to be based on the situation.
Mm. So they have to start somewhere, right? Yeah. Any recommendation for great books that if someone is interested
Oh my gosh, there's so
to,
many
let's say, dip their toes a little bit deeper into hypnosis?
great books. Okay, so there's a book called The New People Making by Virginia Satir
Okay.
that she talks about these coping strategies. So Virginia Satir was an amazing therapist who actually passed because she was such an empath that she'd feel other people and she'd forget herself.
Mm.
So she was taking on so much of other people, and that's why she came up with these 4 coping strategies. So her life mission was to teach people how to level with themselves and get out of those coping strategies because she lost her life doing that. So it's a really, really cool book. And so in our hypnosis programs, it's like building a house. So we
Mm.
start with like the base of the
The
house.
foundation, right?
Yeah, the foundation. So this book would be a really great foundation for someone who wants to explore hypnosis.
Mm. Any other actually, if you have any other links, whatever, I can always attach it at the end of the notes here, so that way people can definitely look it up. But those are great. Thank you so much. I will actually look at myself. What was her name again? Virginia
Satir.
Satir.
Yeah, and I can share some links even with some training too, like where I go for training. It's all virtual or in person. So it's
Okay.
rocked my world. And honestly, I think I've done the basic hypnosis training like 8 times because
Hmm.
you learn something new every time.
Yeah.
There's new people
Oh,
in the room.
it's always like this. When you do something, you always learn something new. I've been reading The Power of Now by Edgar Tolle, and every time I pick up the book, I perceive the message completely differently. So yeah, I
It's a
love that word.
beautiful thing. Always
Yeah.
learning, right? It's like an
Always
adventure.
learning, always something new. That's it.
Yeah.
So, what message do you hope to convey through your work as a hypnotherapist?
My biggest message to people is you always have choices. Always, no matter what the situation, whether it's coming to hypnosis or trying different modalities, whether it's medicine or, natural, whatever it looks like, there's so many opportunities out there and there's so many options for bettering yourself. One thing that I've actually noticed is, we've built a medical system here in Canada it's when you get sick, you go to the medical system, where in other places in the world, you're actually continuing to better yourself along the way so you don't get sick. So it's a totally different mentality, which
Mhm.
is really what we're trying to create here now is take care of yourself so you can just keep trekking and living that life and learning and having the adventure. So always choices, and there's lots of awesome, great places to get help.
I think it's great. I think it's great to have these choices of, helping yourself on this journey of healing, getting better, personal development, or whatever it is. I think is absolutely amazing. We live in this fascinating world right now where everything is click of a button in a way, which is great. And I'm so grateful to have you here. Again, you're almost in, well, Toronto, Burlington. I'm in Ottawa area. So this is great because I would have to travel, you would have to travel. So this is absolutely great, but yeah, this is fantastic. Um, what is the process to become a client of yours? How can people reach you? Um, please give us all the information.
Yeah, so they can check out my website. They can Google it. It's West End Hypnosis or www.westendhypnosis.ca. I think or .com as well. So you can do both. Lots of options.
Yeah,
Or you can send me an email info@westendhypnosis.com, or my phone number for my office is 416-666-1457. Or any social media. There's so many options. Like you said, there's so many
perfect.
options to get a hold of someone these days.
Perfect. And your final thoughts, if you can share with us, please.
Well, my final thought is I want to thank you for just taking a chance and allowing this like freedom and information to get out to people, because there's not a lot of people that are just like, hey, let's just give people whatever options they can get, and it's really a beautiful thing, and I see that beauty in you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Well, I'm super happy to have you on. This is great. I learned a lot. I think hypnosis would be definitely something that I would look into myself. And if anybody is interested to find out more, again, I will post all the information on bottom of the notes. Any links, any books that we have, definitely going to be there. So again, thank you.
You're very welcome, and anyone who's listening to the podcast, they can get 30% off any program they get if they've
Oh,
heard your
wonderful.
podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and we'll talk later.
You too. Bye.
Bye.